session, and we are going to learn about what is all about the entrepreneurship, how it contributes to economic development, what are the exact problems of MSME. So let's begin with the introduction about it. Good morning, everyone. Let's dive into the world of. In India, micro, small, and medium enterprises, it always plays a very significant, a very crucial factor of an industrial sector. And that's all main known for that MSME, it's mainly for the industrial sector. Hence, it contributes a staggering 30% to the country GDP, and of course, the 45% of the manufacturing output and the 48% of the country export. And in fact, this particular enterprises have given more and more employment to the 11 crores people, and still they're all employed in the MSME sector. Because of this unique economic and organizational characteristics, it plays a very significant role in economic, social, political, in employment generation, creation, resource utilization, and income generation. These are generally more labor incentives, and the more and more you can see a labor incentive techniques has been used, and rather than the larger organizations where the capital incentive technique has been used. But under the MSE, more and more labor incentive techniques will be used. Hence, in India, the major focus on micro and small enterprises only, because its major aim to promote the industry rather than the broader aspect of enterprises. So the entrepreneurship and the economic development under this particular perspective, MSME sector includes a wide range of spectrum of enterprises in terms of their size, in terms of their employment potential, in any of the technological use and products. Now we can come up to the main term which is used under the entrepreneurship and how it contributes to economic development. That is all about in today's session. Micro and small and medium enterprises, that's called MSME. So the full form of MSME is micro, small, and medium enterprises. And this particular concept has been defined under the Micro, Small, and Medium Enterprises Development Act of 2006, as there is no proper definition of this term. So it being defined whatever the investment scenarios or whatever the turnover limit criteria is being used to define these particular term, that is MSME. Hence, it includes all those businesses which are classified under micro, small, or medium enterprises. As this term are called the businesses, which is defined by their investment in equipments and annual turnover limits, which has been outlined by the government of India. And it also plays a very important role in economic development, in social development, which always create an employment generation and increase the innovation or foster innovation across all of the major sectors like manufacturing, services, and trade. The MSME Development Act of 2000 categorized these enterprises into micro, small, and medium businesses based on a specific investment and turnover limit criteria. As I said earlier, that there is no specific definition which has been defined this particular term, but it could be defined or include all those businesses according to their investment in equipments and and annual turnover limits, which has been prescribed by the government of India in 2025. So let's begin with the terms that what would be the limit. So what is a micro enterprise? So micro enterprise is defined as a business which have a limited investments in plant and machinery equipments and which are mainly operate in manufacturing, services and trading sector. The investment limit of the micro enterprise is below 1 crore. And what would be the turnover limit of such enterprise is that it should not exceed 5 crore. Now we come up to the small enterprise. It is an extension version of the micro enterprise. A small enterprise is characterized by a higher investment capacity and turnover limit than the micro enterprise. And of course, as the micro is also engaged in manufacturing, services, and trading, same, the small enterprise is also engaged in manufacturing, services, or trading, as there is no restriction on these particular sectors. When we talk about the small enterprise investment limit, so the investment limit in plant and machinery or any of the equipment should be below 10 crore. And the turnover limit of such enterprise should not exceed 50 crores. Now we can talk about the next and the last enterprise, that is called the medium enterprise. A medium enterprise has the highest investment in equipments and the turnover limits within the MSME classification. It always supports the operation in all these three sectors, that is manufacturing, services and trading. The investment limit of this enterprise, it should be below 50 crores, and the turnover limit of it should not exceed 250 crores. So let's have an overlook in the form of table of these investment limits and turnover limit of all these three sectors, that is micro, you can see small and medium. So just have a look as this classification which is being prescribed by the government of India in 2025. The micro investment limit in equipments, that is 1 crore. MSME, that is turnover limit, is 5 crore, which has been prescribed in the earlier, as shown in the earlier slide. Small enterprise investment limit is 10 crore and the turnover limit is 50 crore. And the next one is medium enterprise, that is investment limit is 50 crores and the turnover limit is 250 crores. So if the net turnover, the more major facts of this MSME classification limits, that is if the net turnover exceed 250 crore, that means such enterprise does not fall under the MSME category and it will be classified and termed as a large enterprise. So on 13th May 2020, our Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman added the additional principles or the procedures on the turnover limits along with the investments in equipments as well. In October 2019, the Union Minister Nitin Gandhari has also said the revised definition of all the three main enterprises is always grant identified or a plenty descriptions required of all those equipments or things which are related to investment, taxation and more as well. So automatically the change definition is also being implemented in the form of amendments in the turnover and the description of all the things related to taxation, investment, and of course the exact business scenario for Indian enterprises. The Union Cabinet has also approved the amendment, the changes, so that they can modify or they change the criteria to classify the MSME from the investment in plant and machinery or equipment to annual turnover. So this is how the major amendments is to be done according to the years wise, and it has been modified in 2025 as compared to the existing limits. Now come up to the next term, that is ancillary industrial undertakings. So when we talk about industrial undertakings or ancillary industrial undertaking, which is mainly engaged and which is always proposed to be engaged in the manufacturing or the production purposes, and the production of the part, it mainly deals with the production of parts, components, sub-assemblies, tooling, intermediates, the rendering of the services, the undertaking of supplies and render or even supply of less than the 50% of its production or services, or the whatever the case may be, or any of the one or more undertaking, that is called industrial, where the investment in fixed assets, in plant and machinery, whether having in ownership terms, on lease, on hire purchase, it does not exceed 10 crores. So as on 31st March 2007. So automatically, when any of the undertakings, industrial undertakings, which belongs to a production of parts, assembly, sub tools, any other services which is related to the supplies, and where the 50% of the production, which is not less than whatever the case it relates, where the investment in fixed assets which should not be exceed, especially the 10 crores, such type of undertakings are called ancillary industrial undertaking. Because as there is a rule of the investment in plant and machinery which is not less than 10 crores of any, if any of the investment is less than 10 crore, that doesn't consider as an ancillary industrial undertakings. So automatically, when there is a productions of the vehicles and the parts, tooling, components, sub-assembling components, if deals with it and the investment in fixed assets not been 10 is not less than 10 crores, then it called the ancillary industrial undertakings. If it is less than 10 crore, it doesn't call under industrial undertakings, and in fact, it doesn't comes under the MSME as well. Now we can talk about the next section, that is the characteristics and the relevance of the MSME. So the flexibility makes them best suited to the environment. So these enterprises, one of the main characteristic of such enterprises, it always adapt the changes in the particular environment, because they easily adapt if there is any changes in the various factors, whether political, social, economic, and of course it always plays in every part in everyday life, because it is an essential part. Everyone is entrepreneuring into these enterprises and having an entrepreneur spirit to implement or to construct these enterprises and work accordingly on own terms. So of course that's why it plays a large part in everyday life as well. These enterprises use new materials, new methods of production, new market. Because these enterprises always work on innovations. So when we talk about innovation, so definitely we are talking about the new markets, we are talking about the new methods of production, new markets, new sources of materials, new forms of organization, which always continues to innovate something more and more in character or the nature as well. The third main characteristics that are fairly labor incentive. As I told that the micro and the small and the medium enterprises always focused on the labor incentive, which is their economic solution, which always aims to generate the more and more employment opportunities in both areas, namely urban and rural, at a relatively at a relatively lower cost of capital investment. The next characteristic is decentralized or dispersed of industries is always allow or works as a in maintaining a balanced growth of the economy as a whole. Such enterprises use indigenous raw material, which is something to take up a new action or new work on the raw materials and promote the intermediate and capital goods as well. They also contribute to increase or to foster the economic growth in a transitional economy in a continuous period, pre and post period economic times. When we talk, the last one is they are mostly set up by individuals. That means those individuals who always want to become or willing to be an entrepreneur, and they always provide an outlet for the expression of the entrepreneur spirits. Next one is the benefits of the MSME. So the first one is testing facilities. So these enterprises which always have you can say a network of testing centers, laboratories on a nationwide, and such enterprises can easily avail about their product quality testing, about the caliber of a new product, whether certification has been received or has been applied on it, any consultancy services for their products and processes as well. So this is also the one of the major benefit of the MSME. The next one is entrepreneurship development. The ministry always conduct the training programs, the workshops, the conferences, seminars, the awareness campaigns so that they can promote the entrepreneurship among the potential or the existing entrepreneurs, especially the women, the youth, and the marginalized groups as well, who are not able to have enough funds to develop or construct a new business for those people who are actually in needy. So next one is project profiling. The ministry is always prepares and disseminate the projects profiles and the feasibility reports on various sectors of the MSME, so that they can easily assist to the entrepreneurs, whether it's new or existing, so that they can set up and run their enterprises more accurately. Because as the government of India always work on the new projects, and they always give that projects to a most desirable entrepreneurs who can always set up and run their enterprises under such projects. Next one is consultancy. The ministry provides a consultancy services to MSME on the various aspects, like how to upgrade the technology in terms of marketing facilities, financial management, or the journal management perspective. What would be the legal issues, and it could be resolved through its own networks of field offices and the partners organizations. Next one is export assistance. The ministry is always facilitate the export part or the trade part of the MSME products and services to the domestic or international businesses by providing information, by guidance, their incentives, what would be the support services to exporter, how they can participate in the trade fairs, exhibition, whether both domestic and international as well. Environmental audits. In fact, when we talk about the government of India has always conduct the environmental audits and assessments of the MSME units. There are plenty of organizations or the enterprises who are come under MSME units, which always helps so that whether such enterprises would follow the environmental norms or regulations or not, whether they are able to adopt eco-friendly practices and technologies as well, which is very important benefit and could be done through the MSME only. Their other benefits are well, it attract and utilize the indigenous entrepreneurship, which always talk about something new, which is always talk about to take an action to get a new ideas to construct or set up in enterprises. So nowadays it also especially encouraging the women entrepreneurs as well. The other benefit would be the it always develop a platform of a skilled, semi-skilled workers, which is base, which keep as a base for the future industrial expansion as well. It always forward and backward linkages. It always improves such linkages so that there should be a regional balances between all of the sectors like manufacturing, services, and trading sector as well. The fourth one is the optimum opportunities, that how they will adopt and best technology services and the manageable approaches in their own enterprises. And MSME always gives them such benefits, the opportunities, so that they can adopt a new innovative technologies and approaches in their management departments. Next one is export-oriented units tends towards the favorable balance of trade. As the when we talk about such enterprises, is always work on the exports. They always associate that how they will participate in all of the domestic or international exhibition, so that the balance of trade would remain favorable rather than unfavorable. So it always tends to focus about the that how to make up or set up the, you can see, the enterprises mainly deals with the export and import, either domestic or international. Next one is the special features of the MSME. The first one is contribution to GDP. Such enterprises always contribute significantly to the expansion of the you can say entrepreneurship endeavors through the business innovation. So the more and more innovations, so automatically it contributes more to GDP of India. The MSME are always widen their dominant areas into a various sectors of the economy. Of course, and after all, through such you can say widening, it always produces a diverse range of products and services to meet up the demands of the domestic and the global markets as well. Next one is it always helps to elevate the poverty. So the people who are living in rural and urban areas, they don't have any employment, they don't have any source of income. This particular enterprises provides a hope of job opportunities at some margin in the rural and urban areas. So, as per the study of World Bank, a small to medium enterprises sponsor projects with a higher proportion of unskilled workers than the medium and the large enterprises, as 65% as compared with about 50% to large or medium. Creation of unskilled jobs are also equally important, and which always have a direct influence to elevate the poverty, which is a greater in the small and medium enterprises than for the large ones or the larger ones. So automatically, when we talk about the report which has been uh, done or written by the World Bank, it always portrayed that 65% of the unskilled workers are come under the small to medium enterprises rather than the larger ones. Next one is Indianization. So when we talk about Indianization, as such enterprises always focus on the employment generation. So automatically it always keen, entrepreneurs is always keen to import raw materials and the capital goods with a higher propensity to import such items, and small firms will always focus and to buy more and more domestic inputs by such indigenous labor or adopting a labor incentive techniques. So it totally depends upon the size of the firm and the capital intensity of its operation, because as we can talk about the micro, we can talk about the small firms which always willing to adopt the labor incentive techniques, but somehow they're also adopting the capital incentive techniques which they mainly focused on the new products and services which are mainly available for their manufacturers. So automatically, when we talk about the smaller foundries or metal working plants, it may be both adopted labor and incentive and competition and face a competition in the domestic and the international markets. Next one is the use of labor incentive techniques. In large enterprises, it is very difficult to adopt the labor incentive techniques, which is mainly have a very less weightage as compared to the small scale industries. So it is very important to avoid such problems because a large firm is mainly focused on the capital incentive techniques and always build up are willing to adapt more and more new technologies as compared to the other industries, either small or micro. So wherever the option exists, the small scale enterprises is more inclined and more perform more and more better than the larger firms so that they can use the resources efficiently. Next one is employment generation. Such enterprises always have a significant sources of employment generation, particularly in economically disadvantaged regions, especially the under advantaged regions, and they always such enterprises are always willing to provide the employment opportunities for the both skilled and unskilled labor, which always create or contribute to jobs and reducing the unemployment rates in such areas. Next one is promotion of entrepreneurship. Such enterprises always fosters entrepreneurship by providing such a platform for all those individuals or the women to start and grow their businesses with a very relatively lower investments. And there in India, there are plenty of entrepreneurs who have set up their businesses with a very lower investment. And actually, when it comes to the years, they are actually earning revenues from their own businesses. They encourage such enterprises would encourage innovations and creativity in their business operations so that they can foster a culture of entrepreneurship within the society. Next one is regional development. MSME enterprises plays a very important role in regional development so that they can establish the businesses in remote and backward areas. In this way, they promote the economic growth, which is a balanced one across different regions. They can also decentralize the economic activities, they can reduce the concentration of industries in urban centers, and they can equally provide or generate the equal opportunities to the rural or semi-urban areas as well. And that ultimately leads to a regional development. Next one is export promotion. They contribute to the export promotions by manufacturing the varieties of goods and services to international markets. And of course, they can also specialize in niche products and to fulfill the specific market demands so that the country export competitiveness and its reach to a global market would be vital. Next one is diversification. It also contributes the economic diversification by operating the various sectors. It could be a manufacturing, services, agribusiness, and technology as well, so that they can reduce the dependency on the single sectors, and the more and more enterprises, whether micro, small, and you can say medium, they can enter into a multiple sectors, so that they can dependent on their own sectors, on their own organization work, and of course in this way it will improve the economy, and of course they will also learn about the external shocks and the market fluctuation in this way. Next one is innovation. Such enterprises are the hotbeds of the innovation, because such enterprises always aim to adopt, to innovate something new, whether new products, new technologies, new processes, so that they should remain into a competitive environment. They can also drive a technological advancement, how they will improve the productivity, how they will initiate to adopt the innovative practices across the industry, and it could be possible through innovation of technologies, through innovations of the processes, where they can contribute to the overall economic growth and development. Next one is the reduction of income disparities. It plays a very important role in reducing the income disparities, in providing the opportunities for wealth creation and the income generation among different sections of society. So automatically, when such more and more entrepreneurs would come and set up the small, medium, or the micro enterprises, so ultimately it will give a platform of an opportunities to increase their wealth, to generate the income among the different sections of the society in this part, and it could be done through the MSME only. Next one is support for large industry. That's very true. And the fact is that MSME, where the investment limit is goes beyond the enterprise and it becomes the large enterprises. Then also MSME serve as a supplier, a subcontractor to the large industries. They're providing up the essential goods, components, and services. So in this way, they contribute a wide chain of such industries by offering a specialized product, a customized solution, or we can talk about the highly specialized consultancy services and the cost effective services as well to large industries. Now we can come about how do MSME contribute to Indian economy. There are, as the such enterprises are of great importance in Indian economic development. They always focus upon the socio-economic progress, because these enterprises are mainly engaged in rural or urban areas or any of the backward areas, which significantly reduce the unemployment rate and poverty situations which are occurred in India. So nearly 63 million MSME spread, such enterprises spread about around 63 million across the country, and 8% of the GDP, 45% of the manufacturing output, 40% of the export are actually revealing their solid status, which is a backbone of the Indian economy. The MSME sector is always overseen by the Ministry of the Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, and has received a substantial support from all of the stakeholders, including the government bodies and agencies, state governments, which always focus its growth and development. And through such development, or through the growth of Khadi village and core industry, such MSME have also contributed to the rural industrialization and how they will empower the local communities through such enterprises. Moreover, MSME have also demonstrated resilience, where through the challenging times during the COVID period or pandemic, it always plays a very important role in Indian economic recovery. So government interventions come up with the schemes, financial support schemes, relief measures, so that they can pull back the such MSME sectors and improve such sectors so that they can face off the you can say economic shock and continue the economic growth and development for our own country. Now we can come up to the next part, our next section, that is role of entrepreneurship in MSMEs and economic development. Entrepreneurship is always increase the productivity, and how they will increase the productivity through the innovations, through the various forms of innovations, through the technical form of innovation, through innovate new technologies in terms of capital incentive enterprises especially. Next one is entrepreneurship is a very powerful tool of the job creation. It's not only about job creation, it's always talk about the wealth creation. It always talk about the, you can say, job, reduce the unemployment in poverties in the backward areas as well. How they will in the, how they will set up an industry in such areas so that they can give more and more employment to such people who are actually have no source of income. Next one is entrepreneurship facilitates the transfer of technology. That's true. Then entrepreneurship is always helps that how they can or how the enterprises could transfer the technologies or in exchange of technologies for their own benefits. Entrepreneurs plays a very strategic role in commercializing new inventions and products because they always prepare the strategies into a commercial markets, how they will invent a new products and how they will launch a new products and work about their innovations inventions through the feedbacks of the customers in that respective competitive markets. Next one is entrepreneurs plays a critical role in the restructuring and the transformation of economy. That's very true. It always plays a crucial role as well in how they will restructure the enterprises, which ultimately leads to transform or transition period of the Indian economy. Entrepreneurs helps to reduce the rigidity of established social institutions and major more concentration on economic power. It always helps to reduce all those problems related to the society and the major contribution of the economic power so that they can work more and more on the economic growth and the development or the social development as well. Entrepreneurship and the entrepreneurial behavior can always breathe vitality into the life of large corporation and government enterprises. That's very true that entrepreneurship is always plays a very important role as along with the behavior of the entrepreneurs where which always gives a platform into a good growth of a large corporation and government enterprises because after all the behavior of the entrepreneurs would be more and more focused about the growth of such organizations. Entrepreneurs makes market more competitive and reduce both static and dynamic market inefficiencies. That's absolutely the fact of the entrepreneurship is that the entrepreneurs makes the market more and more competitive, innovative, and always reduce the inefficiencies which actually going on in the market. But these entrepreneurs is always reduce, which always aims to reduce them. So this is the role of entrepreneurship in the MSME and economic development. In this way, it will develop the economy. Micro entrepreneurs who are operating in a very small scale, or you can say it's informal sector, established a government authority when the governments develop their programs towards the awareness, about the awareness campaigns, about setting up an industries to generate an employment, which leads to economic development. Entrepreneurs also stimulate a redistribution of wealth, income, and political power within societies. So there's a continued part of the, you can say, the role of the entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurship is always redistribute or distribute the wealth, income, and how they use the political power within the society, so that there should be a no economic backwardness. Instead of backwardness, they mainly focused on the economically positive without any political interference. Entrepreneurs always improve the social welfare of the country by overlook the talented people who are always keen to become an entrepreneurs. They can have their new ideas, and it could be used to improve the social welfare of the society. Entrepreneurs always creates a new market. It always facilitates